All right, friends, it is 8 o'clock and we are going to get this show on the road. Look at all of you already on here. That is fantastic. I love it. If you're hopping on and you're not muted, please mute yourself. I will try to stay up with that so we don't get feedback. But we're going to get started. I love it. It's a full house on Zoom tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Holly Tommett and I am in Michigan in the Grand Rapids area. And we're going to talk about activation on horses tonight. And this is my thing, you guys. I'm so excited. We do a lot of different presentations and Zooms, but I give you my peeps tonight, my horse peeps. So I have been a trainer for about 30 years. Oh, that makes me sound really old, but I've done this. I was riding before I could walk. I've been in horses all my life. And now I am married with 3 kiddos, and I have coached quarter horses. Now we do the 100 jumpers. We own a 60 stall horse barn here in Michigan. And thank the Lord, we have a full-time manager, and it's a busy life, but it's a good one. I was introduced to activation for people before horses almost 4 years ago, but it took me about a year. I was super skeptical. And I wish I didn't wait so long. And I realized that once I finally started, I finally said yes. It was life-changing for me, for my health, for my husband's health. And then I realized that this actually is so important also for our animals. And for me, that means my horses. We own 6 at our farm, but like I said, we have about 60 horses on the property. So we've shared this with clients and friends, and we're hoping to share that with you all tonight. So if you're not familiar with activation, we're hoping to break that down for you. We have an amazing guest on here tonight that we are going to hear from. I'm so excited to introduce her. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to share some slides and some information with you. I want to break down the science of this activation and how it impacts not just our horses' health, but we're going to go over how it affects humans as well, because it's the same. So a lot of our studies are going to be relating to people, but it's going to affect our horses in the same way. Okay. And then I'm going to break from the slides because I want to hear from our guest speaker on tonight. And then we'll do a couple more slides to wrap it up. So we hope to have you guys off here by 8:30 as our goals. So we want to respect your time. So we're going to go on and get into this. Okay. I'm going to share my screen with you. Here we go. Okay, so again, welcome. If you're hopping on late, just mute yourself if you can. We're going to talk about the science of activation versus supplementation. This might be a new concept for a lot of you. It was definitely new to me. I was a diehard supplement fan. I had a cabinet full of supplements in my cupboard from a naturopath, from our chiropractor. And there's a lot of great supplements out there. But what I didn't realize was that activation, this newer technology, far surpasses the power of supplementation. So what does this look like? Well, I don't know about you, but I know so many people who just are sick. They have chronic health issues. Maybe it's migraines, asthma, allergies, you name it. And why are so many of us feeling so poorly? The fact of the matter is, you guys, we're being hijacked. Our bodies are exposed to just harmful things every day. It seems like every second of every day, whether it's pesticides, pollution, EMF radiation, heavy metals, GMO foods, just to name a few. And the truth is, our horses also are being bombarded by these kinds of things. And so these harsh elements that our body's exposed to create something called oxidative stress. Now, our body can normally combat, these free radicals that are produced in our body in normal circumstances, but these days it doesn't seem to be very normal. There's such a higher influx of these stressors on our body and on our animals, and definitely on our horses. So that's why we have you on here tonight. Hopefully, if you're probably a horse owner, a barn owner, a manager, an exhibitor, a coach, a trainer, and maybe you're on here because you love horses. I hope this information is really helpful to you. If you're just hopping on, make sure you're muting, would be super helpful so you don't get feedback. Thanks so much. So why do we care about oxidative stress? Why does it matter? Well, here's just a few things and how it affects our horses. Okay, we're looking at metabolic diseases. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cushing's. I'm assuming most of you are. That's been a big one for me, that I've seen oxidative stress have this effect on that health issue in our horses. Inflammatory inflammatory airway disease. We call that HEAVS, us in the horse world. Different eye diseases, osteoarthritis, tendon injuries, exercise-related fatigue and injury. You guys, just like in people, and you're going to see this on a video here in a minute, exercise actually increases our levels of oxidative stress. Now, that doesn't mean we don't exercise, it just means we have to help our body combat that. And we're going to learn how we do that. And that also applies to our horses. And again, even sarcoids and other tumors are all just a sampling of things that are tied to oxidative stress. So we're going to look at combating that through something called nutrigenomics. This might be a new word for you. It was for me, but it's definitely becoming something that is much more studied and much more widely known. And then look at this, you guys, it's projected by 2023 to be a $17+ billion industry. So the Today Show said about nutrigenomics, listen to what they said. They said the latest trend in nutrition isn't a fad diet or newly discovered supplement, it's actually your DNA. Fox News had to say this, nutrigenomics is changing everything. Where we once thought we were powerless is now an area over which we have at least some control. The ability to use nutrition to affect our genes means that we're no longer at the mercy of our DNA. Those are some key words I want you to pay attention to. Nutrition and genes, nutrigenomics, okay? We're gonna look at some studies here in a minute, but we're literally gonna talk about how this product and other things can actually affect our genes, okay? So when you have a family history of something like heart disease or colon cancer or breast cancer, we used to always think, oh, that's just really bad luck for me. I'm more predisposition to that disease or illness. And now they're finding that it's like upwards of 90% of your genes can actually be tuned away from disease just through environment and nutrition. That's pretty exciting. I loved hearing that news. I'm going to show you now a short video, and it's going to break down NRF2 activation and oxidative stress. Again, this video is definitely more focused on people, but just keep in mind that it works the same in our horses. So take a look at this video here real quick.
Free radicals are naturally occurring molecules that can cause serious damage in your body. If free radicals are allowed to overwhelm your body's ability to fight them, they can adversely alter lipids, proteins, and DNA, triggering a number of health concerns. Fortunately, scientists have made a remarkable breakthrough that promises to give your body a natural aid in the fight against free radicals. It's called NRF2 activation. And according to researchers, it's a powerful process that stimulates antioxidant production and can wake up your body's ability to stay healthy. Understanding NRF2 activation begins with understanding how oxidative stress caused by free radicals affects your body. Free radicals are a natural result of your body's metabolic processes.
I thought too.
Under normal circumstances, your body also produces antioxidants, which neutralize free radicals and limit the damage they can do to your cells. It's a bit like having a factory in your cells that produces enough antioxidants to keep the free radicals under control. But exposure to X-rays, ozone, cigarette smoke, inflammation, air pollution, industrial chemicals, and even exercise can overwhelm the body's natural responses to free radicals, allowing them to wreak havoc on your cells and your health. Over time, the damage to your cells and DNA turns off the power in the cell's factory, reducing our ability to create antioxidants and leaving us vulnerable to premature aging and health concerns. Fortunately, science has given us the ability to turn the power back on. NRF2 activation. NRF2 is a protein messenger that binds itself to DNA and is a master regulator of the body's aging process. Through the study of nutrigenomics, scientists have discovered that certain phytochemicals found naturally in foods turn on our ability to create antioxidants to combat aging and preserve health. Tandem is specially formulated with an optimal blend of these phytochemicals found in foods like turmeric and green tea. This patented blend is formulated to turn on the NRF2 biochemical switch that creates and releases the antioxidants your body needs to fight free
Nathan needs to be on this.
I know.
What do scientists say about NRF2 activation? In just the last 10 years, researchers have published more than 500 studies about the power of NRF2 to activate your body's natural response to free radicals. One recent peer-reviewed study from Washington State University calls NRF2 activation one of the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthroughs in the history of medicine. For more than a decade, LifeVantage has been the leader in developing effective natural NRF2 activation supplements like Protandim. We're excited to share the power of this breakthrough to create a healthier life for you and your loved ones for years to come.
All right, if you're anything like me, a lot of that information when I first saw that video was brand new to me. I was not familiar with oxidative stress. I wasn't familiar with cellular activation. And again, like I said, I was skeptical, you guys. I had to do a lot of research. You guys are just hopping on. Try to mute yourself. Thank you so much. I was skeptical, but you guys, I couldn't deny the science and the studies behind this, which is what I want to share with you tonight, because that's the part that's super important to me. Stories and testimonies are awesome. I need science to back it up. And that's why I found that this was so different. All of those supplements I had in my cupboard, all those things my family and I were taking, great ideas, great in theory. I couldn't find any studies proving to me they were going to work. So this is where this is different. And we're going to look at this activation for horses. Yes, there's a place for big pharma. I am not kicking big pharma out of my life, okay? But if I can find something that's going to help my horses and my family in a natural way, that is always going to be my first choice. So let's dig in this a little bit more. This is our product, you guys. You saw this in the video. This is our Protandim NRF2. And when I say natural, I mean supernatural. We're talking about 5 herbs proven to do what nothing else has ever been proven to do, and that is to lower oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. This is huge, you guys. Nothing else has been studied and proven to do this. And we're talking about supporting cellular repair. It even was proven to increase the median lifespan in mice. We're going to look at that study a little closer. So again, why do we care about oxidative stress? We saw in horses some things that it can be related to, even in people, of course. It's related to like over, I think now that's upwards of 300 different diseases and illnesses rooted in oxidative stress, you guys. So rather than just put a Band-Aid on it with big pharma products, let's address the main source of the problem. And that's why I get so excited about this. If I'm going to give my horse Butte or, any other kind of pharma product, it's covering the symptoms. It's not addressing the root cause. It's so much more powerful if we can address the root cause for what's causing them the issues in the first place. But in the video, I talked about a little bit, and you can see that I like this graphic here. We're basically rusting from the inside out. So our cells, when they're exposed to these free radicals, they suffer from oxidative stress. And we want to find a way to combat that in any way that we can. And so far, this has been proven to be the most powerful way. So think of it this way. We want to eat well, we want to drink our healthy juices, and we want to eat our fruits and our vegetables. But the reality is, while we want to do that, it can only neutralize at a ratio of 1 to 1. Okay, so 1 antioxidant to 1 free radical. When you activate your body's own pathway, which is what NRF2 has been proven to do, our Protandim NRF2, when you activate your body's own pathway, you can produce millions of antioxidants. And so it is so much more powerful. Rather than putting like a Dixie cup on a raging fire, we're talking about turning on your body's own innate sprinkler system. Think about that a minute. And it increases our body's production of some of our major antioxidants that are needed. You can see a list of them here at the bottom. Okay, I talked to you about science. Science is important to me. I want to see the proof. Okay, so when I was super skeptical, I could not deny the science and the studies that the American Heart Association put out, Harvard University, National Institute on Aging. You're going to see a couple of those coming up. But on top of that, you guys, we have patents on this product. Be like, what's the big deal? But the big deal is we don't get patents on herbs, friends. Like that doesn't happen. Like you just don't do it. I have a friend and she has a friend who's a patent lawyer. And when she told her friend that we had patents on this product, he was like, you're crazy. Nobody gets patents on herbs. 7 US patents, you guys. It's no one can touch what we have. Proven to do what they say it does. Proven where? Look at all these peer-reviewed studies in the publications in these journals. I think we now have upwards of, I thought it was 30 or 31 peer-reviewed studies. This slide probably needs to be updated. And we're not talking Joe Blow doing the studies, you guys. Check out these credentials here. We're talking Harvard, Washington State, National Institute on Aging, American Heart Association. They are not known to study any natural products, and they even have their own study on this. We have some top cardiologists in the world, have thousands of patients on this product with improved blood work. Amazing to hear their stories. So let's quickly look at 3 studies, and then we're going to get to our guest speaker, but I've got to cover these studies with you guys. Okay, so since 1999, the National Institute of Aging has been trying to find something to extend life. So they've incorporated all kinds of things. So for many, many years, right? Since 1999, this has been going on. Our product, NRF2, is the only one ever proven in their study to extend life, and it extended in male mice by 7%. 7%. Imagine if Big Pharma had their hands on a product that extended life in mammals by 7%. Can you imagine? If we had every billboard, it'd be like probably the most costly products you could ever get your hands on. And here we are, $50 a month, proven to do what nothing else in their study was ever proven to do. There's another study talking about MS. Okay, so Big Pharma is trying to catch up to us. They're trying to come up with products to activate these cellular pathways and affect our genes in certain ways. This is a company that decided they were going to try to target MS. Very good. I love their enthusiasm and what they're going after. We want to help anybody with any chronic disease or illness. But you guys, in their own study, $50,000 a year drug, and in their own study, they pulled in our $50 a month product. We were proven to be the most, you can see it here in their own study, it says right here, Protandim, because these have herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer and therefore may be the most therapeutic strategy. That's amazing. A natural product made of 5 herbs outperforming a big pharma product for something as serious as MS. Now, we don't claim to cure or treat anything. They're just saying in their study, we were found to be a pretty good option to help reduce oxidative stress tied with MS. Okay. Last study here for you. I know it's hard to see. Happy to get this. If you guys, whoever invited you, I can get this to them. They can share it with you. But this was in a medical journal. And we're talking about affecting our genes, right? Not just our genes, but those for our horses. We want to steer our horses' bodies away from disease and illness and injury. So let's look at what was studied here. We're talking heart disease, colon cancer, and Alzheimer's. And they have these gene markers. And our gene markers are going towards disease or away from disease. And you can see in this first column here, in this study, that almost all of these arrows are going towards disease. You can see the arrows are going up. And when they introduced Protandim NRF2, almost every arrow switched away from disease. Now, when I was super skeptical about this, my best friend was actually sitting here in the room with me because I had to come to her house for her Wi-Fi tonight. She said something very important to me when I was super skeptical. And I said, you know what? I'm so thankful to God. I don't have a lot of major health issues, none that I'm aware of right now. Who knows what's going to happen down the road? You know what she said to me? She said, I'm okay not knowing what I never get. If we can, in fact, tune our genes and prevent things in our horses as well, but reducing our oxidative stress to be the healthiest version of ourselves, who wouldn't want to do that for us and for our animals? Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing my screen a minute because I'm going to introduce someone. I'm super excited to have her share her insight and her expertise tonight. We have Debbie Kroll on the call with us, you guys. Debbie helped pioneer the equine therapy industry over 40 years ago. She says her passion has always been to help horses perform at their highest level. She followed the racing and show jumping circuits for many, many years. And she, listen to this, she had the privilege to work for the US Olympic jumping team and the Canadian 3-day event team. She's been 9 years with our company now, and she's a blessing with her insight and knowledge. And now I think she can talk a little bit. She's pretty much retired, but still gets to choose when she wants to work and when she doesn't. Debbie, I'm so excited you're on. And can you share with everybody on here some of your insight and what you've seen and what you've experienced?
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. Number one, I get excited when I get to talk to other horsemen and not just horsemen. Everybody that has a horse has a dog, for all our little dog lovers out there too. That was what brought me in the business, was the fact that wanted to put horses on it. I did get a lot of people on it, and jockeys. They have similar problems that we do. They've got really a lot more problems than we do. They have a lot of TBIs that happen, and but my passion was first to get a bunch of horses on it. So, and number one, I just want to thank everybody for having me, and I hope I bring some value to you tonight. Like I said, 40 years in the business, was 45 years, I guess now. I'm trying to quit counting, but it has been quite a ride to get started. In the very beginning, there wasn't anyone doing that 40 years ago. There weren't any schools, so you were self-taught. I was married to a saddle maker, and we also had a custom saddle shop for 25 years. And that was really where I started when I was around 20, 21, and we realized that a lot of saddles weren't fitting, and my passion was trying to make the horses comfortable by learning how to make different pieces of equipment. And I did learn that a lot of times it's not just the equipment, the horses have to be worked on, put their body back into better shape muscularly before you can even order a tree to make a saddle. So that's where I came from, way back to a lot of details. Sometimes it'd take months to get facts right until we could order trees for the saddles. And then at one time we had like a 5-year waiting list on our saddles. That isn't good either, I'll tell you. Phone ringing, it doesn't matter if you tell them that it's going to be 3 or 4 years, it's still gonna, the phone's gonna ring. And that was about when I was getting into the therapy. I ended up being on the road all the time. I was very fortunate, like she said, to be working on 2 Olympic teams in the beginning, and branched out into the hunter jumpers, did a lot with Grand Prix, and had been in the racing circuit for about 30 years. And what that means is you get to travel all the time. I had a small farm in Florida that I never saw. I'd slide by there and see it for about 10 days, and then you're going to South Florida for the winter, which would be November, December, January, February, March, April. You'd leave and go to Kentucky. Then for the Derby, then you'd get over and do the Preakness in Maryland, get up to New York for the summer, and get down to the Washington International. That was about the time we turned around, did Breeders' Cup, and came back to Florida. So I'll say the first 25 years it was fun, and then it was just work, and you retired. And most, probably no one that knew me would have ever brought this opportunity to me, because I was working at least 100 hours a week. There wasn't no days off in that business. And it just was a lifestyle of something you did every day. And you started at 4:30 in the morning, and you didn't get finished sometimes till 12 or 1 o'clock at night. Thank goodness it wasn't every night, but it was way too many of them. So the person that showed this to me had no idea that that's what I was doing. And I was not looking for another job, that's for sure. But I did know that I was tired for what I was doing, and I needed to do something different. At that time, I'd been doing it about 37 years. And every time, you get hurt. I was lucky I didn't get hurt too many times, but when you did, you were out of paychecks, and you just hoped you could get back quick enough. So when I looked at this, I didn't look at it at the opportunity. I do what I always have done my homework. People approach me probably every week. They could see the door sign on my car, and oops, I had that off. Door sign on my car said Therapeutic Equine Services, and they would show me something. And so I would look, because I'm always open. And as it was, there was never any science to it. And so I wasn't interested. They would tell me how I could make a bunch of money. And I was like, I have a job and I'm making money. I make really good money, but there's no science here. And so when I looked at the science at the NRF2, I just couldn't believe that this was real. And in fact, I canceled all my appointments that day, and I sat on the computer for 12 hours trying to figure out how I didn't know about this, because I was one of those people who brought so much to the industry. I was one of the first ones to use lasers and PEMF machines and to do craniosacral and myofascia. And I was like, why don't I know this? And I think that was my biggest skepticism. So just know that the reason a lot of people don't know about it is because it's new. At some point, everything is new. Thank goodness it's not new anymore, and there's more and more studies, and we've got people like Holly that are educating and helping people understand what we really have. So it's an exciting time that everybody doesn't know. That's what makes it an amazing opportunity for us. But we have these studies, and we have people, and we didn't even have YouTube then. We couldn't record things and send it to them later. This is such a special time for us to be in, to have the science, and what a great great job on the science, Holly. I don't need to say anything more about the science. It's there. And that's the reason I was in. A testimony to me didn't mean a whole lot. It's great that we have them and they're hopefully, we're saying it the right way. But the fact that when somebody asks me, what does it do for so-and-so? And I don't have to be uncompliant. I can teach them what pubmed.gov is or google.scholar is, how to go there. And you guys probably know this. I don't know if you've got guests on, but you go there and you enter oxidative stress because that's what we're reducing by 40% in 30 days. And that's what's attached to most of the diseases that we are dealing with. And what was special for me is that we can put in the words equine oxidative stress, and it pulls up all the studies that are just directly towards the horses. And when I learned that little trick, that was huge. And there's a lot of studies on PubMed. There are more studies on scholar.google. And the reason is because, it's just as a validated site, and that just includes all the digital studies. So you'll find more of them on scholar.google. And most of us that have horses, we know everybody's got a dog or two. It's just kind of how that goes. So put in canine oxidative stress, and you'll find there's even more studies on dogs than there are on horses. But there's plenty on horses about restricted airway and laminitis and Cushing's disease and all these things that we have questions about. We can go show somebody a validated science study and what the experts said. And that's the beautiful part about this business, that I didn't know anything about network marketing. I did absolutely everything wrong. I can promise you everybody can do this because I did it wrong for 10 straight months. And I got to go to an event. I won a trip to Cancun. I got to mentor with 8 Pro 10s. And I went there for only one reason. I went so that I could talk to corporate, because corporate was going to be there. And my mission was to go talk to them about making a horse product. Well, they weren't interested in that. I mean, the horse world is really a tiny little sliver of what the heck's going on in the world, but that was my whole reason for winning that trip. And but as I was listening to the Pro 10s talk about how to do this business, I understood I did none of it the right way. I wouldn't use a third party. I had to say it all. I had to be the be all. It was like, I don't even know how I'm still in, but anyway, 10 months later, I did change my way of doing things, and 10 months being awful. I probably wasn't very good the next 10 months, but I was following a system, and I did hit the Pro 7 level at that time, just because I was following the system. So I always encourage everybody, there is a system, use it. It works. It's not seen anybody be super successful without following that system. So that's just my 2 cents worth. Got off in another tier there. But when I got in this business, I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand really where I came from with my therapy business. Because in the therapy business, you were the only one working. That's what's different, is we have a whole team of people. So this was why this business was a little hard for me in the beginning. I didn't understand this was a team effort versus a lot of us that have worked for ourselves. It was you. So what I did eventually after 9 years parallel is they're very similar. The therapy business, because when I got started, everybody thought I was crazy. Nobody had ever heard of doing body work and making the strides longer and all of this stuff just with muscle manipulation. I really got looked at like I was a wild person. And after a few people, you'd have to do it for free. And then they'd go, oh, well, it worked on this horse and this horse. And you do 2 or 3 of them and they all get better. And then here you are trying to start a business. And they go, could you come here really early before anybody gets here? They wouldn't want to tell anybody what I was doing. They want to keep it a secret, And here in this business, all we do is want to, encourage everybody to work together and pass the word. And there I was, no one wanted to talk about it. And there's some people that get in this business, they'll get in it, but they don't want to tell anybody about it. My therapy business, they thought I was crazy. I get in this business, people think I'm crazy. I get in that business, it's not FDA approved. People in this business, they go, oh, well, it's not FDA approved. I go, well, hope not, it's not a drug. So a lot of those things, when I started the therapy business, so many people told me I was nuts, and they said, no. Well, guess what? They do the same thing in this business. You hear more no's than you do yeses, especially in the beginning. So it was funny today when I was thinking about how these two businesses are really similar. And I just wanted to help the horses so bad. It didn't matter what they said to me. I was going to go out and show them that it worked. And that's what we have to do in this business. The grand part is we have all these studies, and we have people like Holly, and we have, all these leaders that will help us. You're not the only one doing it. So I can really see how this is going to go to the masses, the hundreds of thousands of horses, as well as the horsemen. Because as a therapist, I would always have 3 or 4 people a day I'd work on. You couldn't just say no to the person that just got kicked or just got bucked off or just, broke their rib. You look out the stall door and there's 2 or 3 people waiting for you to get done. You're going to work on them too. And I thought, well, you can't help everybody and you can't help every horse, but yes, we can if we have the right products in them. And so that was an exciting idea for me. Number one, I wasn't doing all the work, and I can't work on 5,000, 6,000 horses, but we can make them feel better with what we have to offer them. So that's an exciting part for me, is that number one, it's a team effort, and this incredible community of people that comes together is just incredible. The total stranger showed this to me at the racetrack. They just came, like I said, to my car and wanted to show me something. And that was 9 years ago, and they truly are family to me today. Jackie and Justin Brown and brother Kyle. And it's just, it's been something to be able to totally see another world out there than where I was living, and have time freedom, be able to retire, go on trips, have time to jump on meetings like this. I could have never done that before. So I just want to thank you for inviting me. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Got time, but I'm very honored to be on your webinar tonight.
Thank you, Debbie. That was fantastic. I always love hearing from you, and I always learn something new. And if you didn't catch it, if you didn't write this down, it's really important to know where to go to do the research. Scholar.google and PubMed. I did it today. I went back again today and put in, oxidative stress in horses, equine oxidative stress. And it's mind blowing, you guys, that more people aren't finding out about this, that we can get to the root cause of some of the most popular horse issues. And I shouldn't say popular, we don't love them, the most common horse issues that our horses face. And so again, I'm not saying that we will treat or cure anything, but I will say that if you do that search, you're going to see things like Cushing's, navicular laminitis. You're going to see this tied up. And they did a study, oxidative stress levels in horses when they're in transport. So, I'm in horse show gear right now.
4 hours makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Once we transport 15, 20 hours, halfway across the country.
Absolutely. We just hauled to a horse show today, and fortunately not too far from home. So I get to be back here tonight. We got a show again tomorrow, which is why I look the way that I do tonight on our Zoom. But, you can find studies like that. Like, how many of us wouldn't even think about that? We throw a horse in a trailer, we take him to an event, and I would try to give my horse some downtime before we get on and start riding. But you think about their increased oxidative stress levels, and with increased oxidative stress levels, you guys, they're more prone to short-term injury and infections and, aging and disease in the long term. So it's something we definitely should be open and willing to learn about and address for our horses. I have horses on it in my barn. Our show horses that we compete with, they're on it for maintenance and preventative. Thankfully, they don't have issues. Now, the stories that I've heard and witnessed are amazing. I won't go into them on here, but you guys, whoever invited you, I'm sure they have a wellness community that they can add you to if you're not already in it. I know ours, we have tons of testimonies and stories and vet recordings and teachings on what this is doing in the horse world. So that's definitely a resource. Get with who invited you and make sure they get you into some type of wellness community so you can see that. And I love that Debbie said, I'm always open. She said, everybody would bring something to her, right? Everybody would bring something to her because I'm always open. I'd look. That's how I felt. I was an open-minded skeptic, but this just seemed too good to be true. And that's why I said no for so long. I couldn't fathom how this was linked to things like, some diseases that I hear about all the time in horses and in people. And I'm like, there's no way it can affect those things until I realized that all of those things are linked to oxidative stress. So the one thing this is reducing is the one thing at the root cause of hundreds of different chronic health issues. So that's when the light bulb kind of went on for me. And like Debbie, I had zero I had zero interest in the business side of this. You guys, we own a 60 stall barn. I train, I coach, I have kiddos at home. I'm a homeschool mom. And the last thing I wanted was another job. But when I had the transformation, my own health that this did, and in my husband's health, and so it was doing in our dog and our horses, I was telling people about this way before I ever joined the company. I was telling people because it had to be shared. So I was constantly sharing. And my best friend's like, why don't you just partner with the company? I was like, heck to the no, not doing that. I don't need anything else to do. But I did go to an event and I couldn't say no to the opportunity once I realized what it was. And the opportunity was to help so many people and so many animals, because we need more people sharing this information. It's literally life-changing. Okay, that being said, let me go to the last couple slides we have. I want to get you guys off here because I know we're going a little bit long. But because we talked about the science and we talked about our own personal stories, I want to talk to you real quick about the company so you know what it is, who we're linked to right here, okay? So LifeVantage, they're 11 years old. They're headquartered in Utah. Here's one of my favorite parts. We're publicly traded on the NASDAQ and we are debt-free. We have the best corporate staff ever. Love our staff there in our offices. And if you have not seen the ABC Primetime video that kind of started all of this, please reach out to who invited you. You have to see this video, you guys. It's short. It will not take up much of your busy, busy lives. It is worth watching. Okay. So we were actually people go, why is it in direct sales? Well, can they explain this in a big box store? Clearly not, because they tried. So when the ABC Primetime Report aired, brought in this flurry of people who wanted to order, and they weren't set up for this marketing strategy at all. So it sat in big box stores. The company almost went under. You know, people would walk into stores and they'd send in secret shoppers and they'd be like, well, what does this product do? Sitting on the shelves of, you know, some nutrition stores. And the employees would say something like, I don't know, it's like a sleep aid or something. A sleep aid. You guys, we extend life by 7% in mammals. Like, hello. It needed to be told in a personal setting. So we switched to direct sales 2009. And I love this when it comes to opportunity wise. And again, you may not be on here at all for the business opportunity. Please, that is so okay. We're hoping that you leave here either wanting more information, wanting to be a customer for yourself or for your animals, or wanting to know more about being a partner with the company. Any of those three are fantastic. But look at this, as far as opportunity goes, you guys, a 60% increase in wellness sales in the last 8 years alone. Like there's never been a better time. And we know lately, everybody's trying to be healthier these days, especially the last year and a half. Real quick, because we are publicly traded, you can see here what the income earnings are. This is out for everybody to see. I love that accountability. I'm going to look at 3 pivotal ranks in the company right here. Look at Pro 3 with me. And here is the average income for Pro 3, over $600 a month. That's life-changing for most people, you guys. I mean, it's life-changing for me. I'm retired. I'm not even 50 years old. I was able to retire from being gone every single weekend, leaving my kids at home, coaching and showing, which I loved, but there was no end game. If I was not working, I was not getting paid. So there's this hours for dollars that I was trading. And I was like, how do I ever stop this when I'm ready? And I want to spend time with my daughter and her horse show, which I'm doing this weekend. This weekend, you guys, is my daughter and I at a horse show. No students, no distractions. I get to take her. I've waited for that for years. So I'm so thankful for this. Look at the Pro 5 here is a little over $3,000 a month. And one of the next pivotal ranks is Pro 7, an amazing 13,000. I can't make these numbers up, you guys. We're publicly traded. You can look this up for yourself. But I couldn't fathom being retired before I was 50 years old. I couldn't do it. And here I am. So I'm so thankful. And you guys, if I can do it, a homeschool mom training horses in Michigan, I know you guys can do it if you decide that you want to. This is what the company offers you. You get global customer support, an easy to follow system like Debbie was talking about. And again, I have no experience in this kind of industry at all. So the fact that I could do it, it tells you a whole lot. I am not a salesperson. I don't like sales, but I am an educator and a teacher and a coach. This is right up my alley. Tons of incentives and perks. So again, let us know where you want to go from here. Do you need more information? Do you want to become a customer? Do you want to find out more about joining the team? Because I'll tell you what, we need people sharing this information with others. So we'd love for it to be you. That's all we have for you tonight. I know I went fast. I know we went a little bit over, but I hope it was worth your time. I'm so thankful for all of you hopping on. Whoever invited you, make sure you reach out to them with questions. We can connect you with a lot more information and resources. Okay. Debbie, thank you so very much. And thank you to all of you for hopping on.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great night.
Good night.